Now I know. Oh look, another video on this stupid dead-ass drama. You can't blame this one on me. Ponder and her goon of a friend decided, let's not make one, but two movie-length responses to a 30-minute video and upload them when the drama was dead. Sure, it's quite obvious the videos were scripted during Halloween in December, but you're telling me large YouTubers of their status can't tell when a drama is dead. So yeah, response time. I hope you enjoy the gameplay. If not, tell me down below and I'll play something more entertaining.
Oh yeah, no worries. I was powered up by the aura of a weebiant trying to worm their way into a situation, claiming to have an in-depth knowledge that others have been carelessly overlooking, whilst simultaneously knowing all of zilch about what they're talking about.
The irony in that is, so far from what I've seen from your channel is, anytime there's a bit of drama and something related to art, you actually weasel your own way into it. This is actually my first time being in an art drama, and since then I haven't decided to weasel my way into anything else. But anytime there's a bit in your community, it seems people like you, Nani, just about anybody else, you weasel your way into it. The Sashley drama, for example, and you try and use age as ridiculous excuses repeatedly throughout the video.
Some cast off from the Madame situation that rose to popularity in the art community within the last month or so.
A little edgelord who's been stirring up trouble and being the very definition of r/I'm very smart.
I never rose to popularity, let alone in the art community. A few support me, and that's their decision. I was never here for the followers, just having fun. But imagine using Reddit reactions in 2020, let alone on YouTube.
1, 2, 3. The context is completely removed.
Yeah, we have no idea what you said to warrant this. I've read a few of your comments and tweets, and I don't know if you realize this, but you've been kind of a dick.
From the screenshots he provides,
you are releasing someone else's personal information to the public with no permission.
Slimurz called out you's ass, so to be honest, that's evidence. Have a nice day.
But she's a minor. She doesn't deserve to have her personal information leaked.
What the hell is wrong with you? No matter what they did, you don't dox anyone.
She's a minor, you fucking bozo.
That is doxing.
Under Section 3 of the amended Act, those found guilty of intentionally causing harassment, alarm, or distress can be fined up to $5,000 or be jailed up to 6 months, or both. Individuals guilty of creating fear or provocation of violence also face tougher punishment.
Do you not understand you're an idiot doxing a minor? You're sick. And do you not understand a joke name?
If doxing is done with the intent to threaten or harass someone, or leads to threats or harassment, those actions can be illegal.
Why are these people saying that I doxed someone because he didn't know what I was talking about?
What a coincidence. We, the people watching your video, also don't know what you were talking about. Why? Because Akumu thought it would be a great idea to remove the tweets that these people were responding to.
And when we say remove, we don't mean he didn't put them in the video. He straight up deleted them.
I suggest finding a better voice actor for whatever tweets or comments of mine you'll try to use against me with your next video, knowing that it'll come late summer. You have plenty of time. My point is, our voices aren't similar, unlike the person you picked. I also want to suggest that next time before you make your video, you do a little bit more research. I never deleted my tweets. I never tried to hide anything. When an account gets suspended, the tweets go bye-bye. At least now, I know where those accusations of me deleting or hiding things are from.
Hiding something, Mr. Edgelord?
Right from the get-go, Akumu is presenting a dishonest claim. He is showcasing the tweets of people reacting to something that he said, but he's refusing to provide us with what exactly that was. Unfortunately, he's also not particularly good at covering his tracks, as we can find his Twitter interaction with Nightburn7, for example, which contains this back and forth.
WTH is wrong with you. No matter what they did, you don't dox anyone.
I'm not doxing anyone, you idiot!
Also, referring to Madam doxing her, you seem to be defending her, lol.
I'm not. Again, look into something before looking like a retard.
You seem to be really upset. You want to talk or something? I didn't do anything to look like a retard, and quite frankly, that is a very rude term to use, lol. It's very easy to assume you're defending her. Chill.
I don't care if it's rude. Talking is useless. I'm being lied on simply because I pieced together evidence of Slimurz lying like Madame lied.
How are you being led on, if you don't mind my asking?
I haven't attempted, nor said that I was gonna release her phone number. I simply asked someone to message me as I have the case number.
So, You didn't technically attempt to dox anybody. You were just asking if there was somebody out there who could dox her for you. Note, you didn't ask Slimurz directly. You asked strangers online.
Nothing was unhonest or an accusation. The reason is because D'Angelo Wallace made a tweet taking my tweet way out of context, which he later removed after I called his ass out, and never once responded. I didn't delete any of my tweets or Twitter accounts. Twitter did that. I asked about the case number. I never said I'd release her name, address, phone number, or other details. It was stupid, however. Why? I should have known I wouldn't have been able to find it. Having someone decipher the blurred images, if possible, would have been a better idea. When I'm talking about blurred images, I'm talking about the image that James put on his video that Slimurz gave him that was partially blurred out. He left her county out. That's how I was able to know her county.
So don't even try to say that's not the same thing.
Because that's just so much better.
I don't get this dude's logic. His brain too big for me.
I can't believe that we're only 18 seconds in and we've got a big ol' lie by omission, a dishonestly presented accusation, and a major contradiction presented to us. That's gotta be like a new record or something. Akumu deserves a prize.
I found this crumpled gold star sticker in the trash.
Let's break this down. The lie by omission is him leaving out important information regarding what people were responding to.
The dishonestly presented argument is him pretending that these people didn't have reason to believe that he was going to dox Slimurz, especially when you take into consideration that this guy has apparently been harassing Slimurz and her friends during the course of this drama.
And the contradiction will come up a little bit later, but it has to do with him making note that someone out there should be able to answer his question and provide Slimurz' private information to him.
Which is basically him not committing the crime, but asking someone to do it for him. Which doesn't make you innocent, my guy.
Now, could there be other things that this original deleted tweet said? Could we be wrong? I'd say absolutely, were it not for this tweet of him acknowledging what he...
That wasn't me saying I was going to dox her. That was me saying I had full intentions of reading her case. I even told James I wasn't going to release any private information. I told D'Angelo Wallace when I responded and called him out that I wasn't going to release his information. And most of those people that attacked me, they thought that I had her phone number. Because a case number, they confused that for phone number. I'm not certain if D'Angelo Wallace confused it for that, because again, he never responded after he got called out and deleted his tweet. As well, you continue to say I deleted my tweets, but I never deleted anything. My account was suspended. That's not me choosing to delete it. That is Twitter themselves deleting everything to that account, and boom, I don't have that decision. By definition, you're lying about me deleting tweets, and lying saying I lied in the first place.
That's giving out her county is such a stand for this other YouTuber, Madame, that he's trying to dox the girl for defending herself against Madame. This crossed over from being internet drama into legitimate child endangerment. Feel free to report.
Note, this video is not making excuses or even condoning Madame's shitty behavior. More has come out about her. This video, however, is pointing out Slimurz's lies and the double standards these people follow.
That's not how double standards work. They have to be doing the same amount of damage and people solely targeting one. So, yes, you are in a way condoning what Madame did by placing her illegal actions on the same basis as Slimurz wanting credit and simply going about it in the wrong way. Something that she has admitted to and apologized for, but apparently you and Madame are just that fucking petty.
Not entirely true. You used Madame's actions as a testament to her personality, and in this video you do the same to me. But you either fail or refuse to do the same for Slimurz. This is a double standard.
Oh, but don't forget, he claims that Slimurz did worse things than the minor things everyone already acknowledges she made mistakes on, so in his eyes, because Slimurz did other things, they must be looked at on the same level as the legal adult directing targeted harassment towards a minor for wanting credit on their artwork.
Call me when Slimurz attempts to dox Madame and then maybe we'll talk. Maybe she can give me her number instead.
Also, he talks about how he's not going to make excuses for or condone Madame's behavior. Want to take 5 seconds to guess what his first point attempts to do?
I'll explain the situation to those who fail to understand. You may have already heard of me or even seen me troll a few people on Twitter. I'm Akumu. You can call me Madame's White Knight if it keeps that fragile mind of yours, working, ticking properly to at least get to this video. But, I'm literally attacking both of them.
So, you're openly admitting to attacking them, something that everybody didn't do. I guess this explains why he keeps calling all these criticisms attacks. Is your edgy smart boy brain too sensitive?
You're telling me that no one attacked Madam. That's what I'm getting from this. Maybe if you took a look at the tweets that she received during October, November, and December, or maybe if you take a look at the comments that she has on her YouTube channel, or maybe, just maybe, if you go back to my previous video responding to James, you would be able to see the fact that people went to her server, caused problems, and even tried to attempt to be spies of sorts for Slimurz and that side of the situation. But no one attacked her. Okay. I genuinely don't really know how to respond to that besides pointing that out. I might as well as mention the numerous videos on her, the numerous memes, her persona being depicted as a pig, plenty of other things, and let alone Ponder's own video on her, and there's plenty of other videos that just sprung out on Madam, and plenty of them did say some pretty horrible things. If you want to look at it at a moral standpoint, there were some pretty horrible things said and some pretty negative things said, but again, no one attacked Madam. Okay.
Additionally, wasn't the whole point behind your description that neither of them should be attacked, although both of their mistakes should be addressed? Now you're saying that you are literally attacking both of them? You can't even keep consistent into what you're claiming everyone else needs to do.
You're clearly not understanding my words or simply just taking them out of context. The point was, if you're going to attack one for their wrongdoings, you need to attack the other one. Otherwise, not only is that bias, but that is a double standard. And again, they both have done something wrong. Just because one of them has apologized does not mean they get out of the consequences. This is not something hard to understand. It's not rocket science.
Before you start disliking the video and you start commenting troll or whatever you're going to comment,
I'm allowed to troll, but you guys aren't allowed to troll in my comments section. Yeah, this doesn't even surprise me that Akumu will get uppity when people block him, but openly acknowledges that he removes comments that effectively don't agree with him or imply anything but the noblest intent. Which is hilarious considering his bias against Slimurz is very apparent from him openly harassing her and asking other people to send him her private information, thus betraying a lack of noble intent. That's what he's doing here when he says that he has been removing comments from his video. Slimurz even commented, and that comment is no longer on the video. Ironic that the first thing he did in his video was talk about how people on Twitter didn't want to hear the truth and were actively trying to suppress it, and yet he hid a comment from the very person whom he was not only apparently trying to get into contact with, but also made a video on trying to expose them for being an awful manipulative person. That's a whole other level of wow.
I previously removed a total of 16 comments on the video, including Slimurz. As you can see for yourself, her comment is just excuses for what she's done and her explaining what the video could have been, and her arguing about the copyright. I was not trying to contact her after I made the video, as she had already said she wasn't going to talk to me. You did some lengthy research, but you couldn't find that at all.
It's my word now, because it's not a physical thing, so I'm not stealing. It's mine now.
or telling me that I'm defending Madam, even though I'm not even actually defending Madam. I'm just giving you the facts.
Nothing in this video is fact.
Also, are you serious?
The number was fake and she said it was in the post. So it wasn't by definition a dox, because it isn't real.
That's not how that works. Criminal intent is the intention to break the law. Madame said it was fake in a second post, not the first one. She was under the impression the number was real, and thus means she showed criminal intent. And not only that, the number wasn't technically fake. It was a temporary number. It was still Slimurz's number, but it was created by an app and not a registered cell phone.
This doesn't change the fact that the number isn't a real phone number. Internet-based phone numbers don't require money nor a SIM card. Just an email and possibly an area code. Here's the thing, Slimurz and James already leaked at her own county, which is a basis for her area code. Which isn't very dangerous because plenty of people live in that area. It could be, but in this situation it's not. Phone numbers made from apps aren't private either unless you pay, as some apps have subscriptions. You can and will get calls from bots and more. These numbers can be searched and their origin found. That's not private information.
That was still her number.
There's nothing that can excuse for her attempting to dox her, but I am going to tell you why.
I mean, Why, though? What does Madame's intentions behind doxing Slimurz have to do with the situation if you've just said it yourself that her actions in attempting to dox Slimurz is indefensible? It might be interesting additional information from a psychological perspective, but if your intent with this video is to showcase that Slimurz is just as bad as Madame without defending Madame's actions, then why would Madame's intent with the attempted dox be relevant to show that
It has to do with this. It has to do with the situation because that's what happened. That's a stupid question. By that logic, I shouldn't mention it because it was an attempt, because it supposedly has nothing to do with the events of the situation. That's poor logic. It has plenty to do with it, and that's when I was building my basis for the timeline and what happened.
My way, and everything needs to be done my way, because everybody else is a dumb poopy head that can't handle my advance.
That's not accurate either. My point was that they're not doing it the proper way, and the reason why it wasn't proper is because they were mostly focusing on the bad of Madame and barely even giving Slimurz what she deserved. They only mentioned what she did and what she could have done better. They didn't scrutinize her, they didn't do anything. That's why I said it was wrong. It was a double standard. It was biased towards Madame. But yet when I make a video biased towards Slimurz, I'm in the wrong. That's where the logic is broken. And you continue to bring up my age, but again, that has zero relevancy to this situation at all. I could bring up your age. I don't know it, but I could, and it would still be irrelevant.
Go for it.
And go.
The argument made by Madame is that Slimurz had personal ways of contacting her and should have resolved the issue in private. Which, heck, I mean, fair enough. I get it. I see where you're coming from, Madame, when it comes to that.
I don't know. That's one thing that I would say to Slimurz. If you can DM someone privately, I would go ahead and do so, because especially if they're a big YouTuber or get quite a lot of comments, your comment is going to be hidden. However, if there's no other way of contacting, then comments are usually the best way to go. However, since you both have DM'd in the past, you could have been able to DM one another. So that is one thing that I will say that Slimurz did wrong. However, it's not inherently evil or anything.
I mean, sure, they had numbers in their head when they were, you know, accepting of making art for you for exposure, which is very strange practice, and I do question Slimmer's motives in that regard, and that I really do believe that they do have some sort of care in numbers, which is very strange to me. But still, and I think you're the one here that is really just not so great in this situation.
And he says nobody was paying attention to his video.
See,
The only reason your rebuttal even looked proper was because I lacked context. Yes, they have pointed them out, but not the severity or the seriousness, let alone all of them. When you scrutinize and attack one specific person for their wrongdoing, and there's another person who has also made mistakes and has sort of actually technically did condone the hate to continue on the other person, and you just casually just mention their wrongs and what they could have done, but you don't scrutinize them while you're still hammering down on the other person, that is a clear bias. That is where it was done wrong, and that's why I said they're not really mentioning it entirely or doing it properly.
thus making it look like he's claiming that the crime didn't happen, rather than it's called a different thing. If you're so good at logic, why would you not come to the logical conclusion that without including that stipulation, you weren't going to effectively get your point across?
People are also likely still going after Madame because the issue was never resolved. Slimurz, the one you have admitted to be attacking, not criticizing in this video, already apologized to the small thing that she did in this. You are one petty guy.
Basically, from your logic, it is, oh, so they continue to attack Madame because she didn't apologize. She has said she's not going to apologize, and it's quite clear she's not going to apologize. So continuing to harass someone, that's basically borderline my logic. That's basically how you would view it. Except not really, because again, double standard. I'm going to point this out, and I feel bad that you genuinely believe this. I don't really know how to explain it, but again, apology does not mean what she did has suddenly disappeared nor okay. It doesn't mean you don't scrutinize her. It doesn't mean she's allowed to get away with it. It doesn't mean that, you know, criticism is not going to come her way. That's not how it works, and I feel bad that you believe that.
I'm asking, but luckily explained in the comments. Not a good sign when you make a video and then have to explain your point in the comments, a place people may not see and thus may cause people to misconstrue your points. Credit theft? isn't a thing. It's plagiarism. If he's arguing it's different from a copyright infringement, then he's wrong, because plagiarism covers copyright infringement as an instance of something that is artistically copyrighted being plagiarized. It's still copyright infringement.
Guys, I want you all to really consider this. This guy talks about using logic to really look at the situation. He's, I assume, trying to get a point across, and in order to do that, what do you logically do when you're referring to a very specific use of intellectual property in an effort to differentiate from another one? Oh, you'd, I don't know, use the actual proper fucking name? Like credit theft? Are you serious? You know what I get when I search credit theft art on Google? A photographer stalking someone who stole their identity. You know what I get when I search credit theft legal? I get cases of identity theft. You know what I get when I search plagiarism? The actual definition of the crime you are trying to get across is Madame's true offense. What exactly led you to believe that it was the logical conclusion to use a term so not used in the definition or legal terminology for plagiarism that I literally had to search plagiarism credit theft to find them? Good God, why would you not just say, oh yeah, you guys are wrong on the terminology, it's actually plagiarism, not art theft? No, instead we get some weird non-specific term that takes everyone through loopholes that don't actually bring them to the right term unless they already know what you're referring to. Well, that's fucking brilliant. So is this art theft? Well, yes, but actually no.
I also find it funny that he's saying plagiarism is an art theft when plagiarism is technically still stealing a thing. Plagiarism, the practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as one's own. Steal, take another person's property without permission or legal right and without intending to return it. Madame never stated who made the art, and when asked, didn't respond despite the fact this commenter commented during her 2-day time frame. Even if she didn't pass it off as her own, she failed to cite it properly as stated is necessary by plagiarismchecker.com.
Fuck, you want to argue semantics? I can do that. Definition for plagiarism has similar terms, which include copying, infringement of copyright, piracy, theft, and stealing. Define theft, the action or crime of stealing. Define stealing. First definition, take another person's property without permission or legal right and without intending to return it. Second definition, dishonestly pass off another person's ideas as one's own. Oh really? The thing that you're saying that Madame is doing by posting the work and not crediting? Credit theft, you called it, right? Well according to the definition, that's stealing. And the thing in question being stolen is artwork. It's art theft. You're basically arguing, guys, don't use this word, use the non-existent synonym of this word. Heck, if you'd like to cover semantics even further, Akumu is claiming that the term art theft does not and cannot apply to this situation because the artwork in question was a downloaded copy of the original work, meaning that Slimurz still has a copy of her work. According to him, stealing only refers to physical goods being taken from one person by another. Since the artwork was not a tangible physical object that is there and no longer in Slimurz's possession, art theft as a concept doesn't work. Stealing only refers to tangible physical objects. Okay, so then how can credit theft be a thing? Credit is not a tangible physical object. So by his own logic, the term credit theft also doesn't work and therein isn't a concept that can be used in this situation. So the premise he's providing is even more flawed, not just in that he's being overtly obsessive over unnecessary semantics, but also because what he offers up as an alternative has exactly the same problem as what he's criticizing. If you're going to be super overtly pedantic about terminology, maybe the new terms you're demanding people use shouldn't be flawed for the same reasons you're claiming the originals shouldn't be used.
You're right, I should have used plagiarism. I corrected myself in the comments, on several Twitter accounts, and even in my video responding to James. So what is your point? Second, plagiarism is the theft of the credit, not really the theft of the work itself, as theft does require something to be taken, not copied. You can take the credit for it, but not the work itself. I have explained this several times in my comment section, which I know you've gone through. I'm also quite certain I explained this to Ponder on Twitter.
That would certainly be the logical way of addressing things.
Why? Because something has to be lost for it to be theft. Period.
Yeah, but something was lost. The credit. Credit theft. The credit was not there.
Guys, it can't be this word because nothing was lost. Also, you have to define it as this other thing that involves stealing credit, meaning that the artist lost the credit for the piece. You know, I've joked in the past that the teenage brain is basically on fire, but boy, are you okay? Do you need some water?
He needs some milk!
Credit is who did the work. Again, credit may not be physical, but if one person did the work, you can't digitally copy the credit to someone else. Unlike the art itself, which can be digitally copied to someone else. This is not rocket science. And you continue to bring up my age as if it has any relevancy to this at all. It would be like me taking millennial adults or Gen Z adults, whatever your age is, for example, and saying some typical stereotype and making a joke out of it. It wouldn't be relevant to this video at all. So let's stick to what's actually relevant instead of just doing whatever just to try and piss someone off.
The whole concept of downloading an image and using it makes everyone an art thief that has ever downloaded an image and used it.
I mean, yeah, it kind of does by your own logic. Like, I sort of just kind of thought that it was the case because making a copy of a piece is technically piracy, and I personally consider piracy theft in certain situations. But fuck, man, even by you vehemently trying to classify this as plagiarism instead, it's still art theft. We use a synonym for an appropriate term, but it still applies, my dude.
Yeah, he's not wrong. But the issue with this situation is that Madame is directly using it for her own profit. She may be only using Slimurz' art in the thumbnail, but the thumbnail is like an advertisement for the video, and all of her videos are monetized, as we saw from her apology. It would be fine if Madame had gotten the rights to the art, but we've already explained she went back on the terms that would have given her those rights. None of this would be happening if she just copy and pasted the link. The kid just wanted some credit!
Yeah, if another person was doing that, we'd have a similar problem. It's really how the art is used that determines whether anyone cares that it was downloaded and copied. I don't think most online artists are too miffed by the idea of someone saving copies of their work because they like it and want to look at it more.
It becomes an issue when someone, takes someone else's art and resells it as a commission or puts it on a t-shirt.
The art was used as a thumbnail, as they were made for stills to be used in a video and on a thumbnail. They literally spoke about this, and we have screenshots of this. If I download an image, which is a digital copy, and use the work, as long as I am not taking the credit or technically plagiarizing, nothing is actually lost. Thus, the concept for art theft is not very good. It isn't theft, and your justifications for it being theft is very poor.
She did fan art, this fan art here. Madame reached out to her wanting work, as seen here. She didn't have PayPal because she was a minor. However, she did not tell Madame she was a minor at this time. But when I go to message an artist that is underage, and as you can see, when I questioned them about PayPal, I asked if I could pay them for their work using PayPal. They told me they didn't have PayPal, and why? Because they were a minor. So please tell me, Slimurz, why you did not tell Madame you were a minor. I mean, you clearly don't have an issue with it now. You have it in your bios.
Why didn't you tell her the reason you didn't have a PayPal was because you were a minor? You said it in your bios. Boy just answered your own damn question.
How do you miss a person's bio on the way to the messenger button?
Why would Slimurz feel compelled to say how old she is if it said how old she was in her bio? Like, you act as though her not expressly stating that is...
That's not entirely true. I lacked context and probably confused several, let alone almost gave you a rebuttal. She put her age in her bio after the situation kicked off, and then later removed it. That's my fault for the lack of context due to rushing the video. So for the sake of the video and being nice, you can have that one.
Her hiding that information, but also acknowledge that the information was, at the time, totally public for anyone to see. On top of that, in my own video, I explained that Slimurz is an amateur, not a professional artist, and a 15-year-old wouldn't be aware of professional decorum. So even if it was expected that a young artist explained that the reason they don't have a PayPal is because they're underage, which it's not, I don't know why on earth you're passing off your own expectations as though it's traditionally expected. Why would you expect that young amateur artist who's not used to doing commissions to know that?
It's even funnier when you realize that Madame acknowledges in her response that she knew Slimurz didn't have a PayPal because she was underage, and the fact that Slimurz said she would get one next year is what led her to suspect she was lying about it.
God damn, like, I wanted to make a point about how Akumu acknowledges that he has a bias against Slimurz.
Like here in the comments where he says his video is biased towards Slimurz, which, if you want to get into word semantics again, your video is biased against Slimurz, not towards her.
Yeah, that's the one. And you can see that bias is quite evident in instances like this, but fuck, this isn't even a case of a bias. Like, you have to actively go out of your way to come up with something this completely arbitrary and dumb to blame them for, and then also say something that points out how dumb your suspicion is. It is unnecessarily paranoid and conspiratorial.
Way to grasp at straws like your life depends on it. Did you take them from the straw man you presented earlier?
So, why... you have it in your bios now, so why didn't you have it then?
According to the line you put in this video in the editing process, apparently she did.
Which means that you listened to that line, edited that in, and then listened to the next line, and still left it in!
Akumu has a nasty habit of not admitting when he's mistaken on something. Akumu, look at this section. You made a mistake and fixed it in editing. Learn from yourself, child.
Did he fix it though? Just like Madame, they put it in and then went back like a boomerang. Getting whiplash.
No worries, I'll give you a neck rub when this is all over.
Madame suggested giving credit for her work and a possible vocal shout-out in the video for crediting. Slimurz wanted both, and the two agreed into the terms.
That's not what happened. That's not what happened at all.
Madame offered a shout-out as a method of payment to Slimurz due to the PayPal situation.
When I looked over this conversation, I theorized that there might have been a miscommunication between the two of them understanding how credit was going to be given. Madame's wording of what she would offer Slimurz was, "Can I plug your Instagram in a video in return or something?" which Madame could have intended to refer as a one-time verbal shout-out, and Slimurz could have interpreted to refer to credit in the videos where the art is used. There is no indication that Slimurz is agreeing to two different things here, and the only other indication
You've been somewhat right so far, but she never once told Madame her age. She lied saying she did, and I covered this in my video response to James. She never once told Madame her age, even when she questioned the sudden fact she had a phone number when she didn't. That's two lies so far, coming from Slimurz. Now we'll be analyzing the second, or part 2 of this video that was uploaded to Ponder's channel. I don't understand why they would take a 30-minute video and split 15 minutes each and then analyze them for movie length time of a video, but that seems to be the way that Ponder wants to do things. I don't understand it. It's highly illogical and wasted a lot of people's time. You could just get straight to the points and be on with it.
Please do not harass or attempt to intimidate any users featured in this video. Ponder Sprocket commentaries are intended as critiques of situations or behaviors based on the information available and are meant to demonstrate wrongdoings, contradictions, or dispel false narratives so that others may come to an informed opinion. Under no circumstances is targeted harassment appropriate or encouraged. Quick note here, guys. This is actually part 2 of a 2-part co-op commentary on one video. Follow the link in the description to go see part 1 so you're fully caught up. Preemptive trigger warning for mentions of sexual assault. Happy Spooky Month, my cutie pumpkins! Or potentially later than Spooky Month. I'm not entirely sure when we're gonna get this video finished. I'm about 10 seconds from killing a pumpkin of the less cute physical variety, and so I thought, what better way to appreciate Spooky Month than with some terrifyingly bad arguments? But I think I'm gonna need a bit of help with that one. Now, who could I call to help me out?
Hark! For I have arrived.
Behold, my collab partner, Nezzy Monster!
I hate you.
It's time to get back to a video where a guy tries to flip the Madame situation in an effort to vilify the artist. How fun.
Before you say I'm acting entitled, keep in mind that this girl has spoken to several strangers. YouTubers or not, that doesn't mean you know them. You think we should have learned from this situation.
Yeah, YouTubers that haven't treated her like garbage. I myself tried to contact her with no response. In fact, I just whisked out and deleted it because I was worried I had bothered her. I am also aware that I am not that big of a YouTuber, so I don't blame her for not wanting to talk to me about the situation in comparison to someone like Ponder and Nani who have a bigger audience. Not only are they more reliable to get her story out, but I'm less known and therefore appear like more of a stranger.
Akumu, it's not because she knows these people that she's willing to talk to them, it's because they were polite in approaching the situation. You were not. Even when Creepshow Art contacted Madame to get her side of the story, she started out cordial. Why? Because immediately jumping in and acting aggressive doesn't make people want to open up with you. Indicating that you were willing to listen to each side of the story fairly does, and this is not something that you conveyed when addressing Slimurz, evident by you literally calling her the dumb artist everyone is talking about. You yourself even claim that when people get aggressive with you, you return that aggression, so why on earth you thought it was a good idea to start aggressive with Slimurz and then, oh goodness, be shocked when she wasn't immediately polite and clambering at your feet so that she could confess her guilt is baffling. Akumu has even acknowledged that he's removed comments from the video that we are discussing, likely because they weren't too nice. So he's allowed to ignore people who respond aggressively to him, mind you, on a video where he was already throwing accusations out against a person in order to vilify them. But if people aren't automatically receptive to him being a little shite, well, that's just their fault, and it shows that they're hiding something. That makes sense.
Also, didn't she block you because you were basically harassing her on not only Twitter but also Instagram?
Which begs the question, if you were so in the right and Slimurz is totally at fault for not responding to you as you wanted, why are your comments deleted? Something to hide, maybe? Mind you, this was
Clearly did all this research, yet you didn't wonder why my Instagram comments were gone. I'm assuming you're talking about my Instagram comments. What happened was, Slimurz decided to remove my comments, and I initially tried to repost them, and then she blocked me because I was reposting them. So that's what happened with the Instagram comments. I never removed them. I think it's a little funny that you go on this track of trying to make it look as if I'm trying to hide something, let alone hide my own Twitter or my Twitter tweets. It's just ridiculous and preposterous. Don't do that next video.
written before his Twitter account was taken down, which it has been, for harassment. So now the comments are gone because his original Twitter account is gone, but originally it was because he had removed them. I don't know why. It's not like you stopped being a dick at any point in time.
No.
I believe this is your third or fourth attempt to lie on me again. I have never deleted any of my own tweets. I don't see the reason why. Actually, no, that's not true. I have deleted one time. I've purged my account of tweets. But if you're talking about these specific comments, I didn't delete them. They must have vanished from my account, disappeared. Otherwise, I don't know what you're talking about. I believe this is what you're trying to do, is you're trying to make it look as if I have something to hide. Otherwise, what is this mix-up? I think what you're trying to do is trying to make it look as if I'm deleting or hiding my own comments to prevent something or to hide something, which I'm not. And I honestly hope you don't do that next video, because this is very poor, and it's only leading to you lying.
I had to prod you to get you to continue the conversation and explain. Guess I'll just remain ignorant, right? I mean, is this how you act then? Not answering questions?
If you left another comment on YouTube, I genuinely didn't know. My YouTube notifications get a bit fucked up when I have thousands of people copying off one another's attempts at rebuttals in my comment section of every video, no matter if it's related to Slimurz and Madame or not. Referring back to Slimurz's comment, I didn't even know it existed until someone I was debating with informed me that she commented in the comment section.
You get on Madame's case for effectively being unnecessarily aggressive and not answering questions when you have done the exact same thing, and you start out unnecessarily aggressive.
A thing that Slimurz also didn't do at all. She was very transparent and clear about everything to the best of her ability. But she is clearly just as awful and terrible as a person who tells people to kill themselves, doxes children, and mocks people who have recently lost loved ones over a joke made months prior that they had apologized for.
Or anything. And you only brought 2 screenshots into your video, so it's hard to really find anything that's usable, credible, anything. The only thing that so far that's credible is the 2 screenshots so far.
You mean the 2 screenshots that prove some of Madame's claims wrong? You mean those same screenshots that you used to prove that the community was under some misunderstanding, but again, only proved your claim wrong?
No, I mean the 2 screenshots which supported my argument and still do. I explained why when going through the first part, so I don't know where you're getting that from.
You mean the 2 screenshots you've been trying to use for most of your argument?
However, if we do take something from there, there is something that could be credible. No. Was it right for Madame to leak her phone number? Absolutely not. I'm aware that some seem to think that Madame didn't know her age at the time, but she did.
I'm sorry, what?
You've been arguing this whole time that Madame didn't know her age!
It isn't professional, it is immature, but it's not actually doxing. This was around the time that Madame found out that Slimurz was 15, although she pretended to be someone of age and even said she was going to college.
Which one is it? I guess it's also super logical to contradict a point you made at the beginning in the fucking middle!
However, age doesn't exactly matter. Of course, from a legal standpoint it does, but the principle is to never dox anyone.
No shit, titties!
What? Yeah, but she tried to dox a minor. People view that situation as more serious because it's child endangerment. Why are you specifying that it matters from a legal standpoint, but that otherwise it doesn't? It clearly matters more that this was a child whom Madame was attempting to dox. I would also like to point out that the beginning of your video was you arguing legal terminology and what art theft was, effectively not the correct terminology to use. Now approaching it from a legal standpoint doesn't matter? Why? This seems like a much more serious section of the situation than people potentially using the wrong wrong descriptor.
Also, way to admit that Madame did something illegal, but still put her and Slimurz on an equal standing in terms of wrongdoing, despite that, again, Slimurz did the ultimate sin of putting a comment in the wrong place and deciding to vent on a private Instagram account.
I never once said she did something illegal in the clip you showed. Now are we back to the illegal thing again? She didn't actually dox her and the attempt can't be legally used, because I've already explained how the number works and how Slimurz and James leaked her own county. You continue to bring up the whole illegal thing and child endangerment, but again, that can't be used. So if you're going to make a next response, quit with that. It's not going to get you anywhere.
Doesn't matter if the number's fake.
But you said earlier that because the number was fake, then that means it wasn't technically a dox, and now you're saying that it doesn't matter that it was fake and condemning Madame? I don't mind that this is what you now think, or that you changed your mind. What I mind is that you did it all in the same video, 2 minutes apart!
It doesn't matter how old they are or how professional or unprofessional they seem to be. However, with the screenshots I have available to you all, this might explain why Madame doxed her. Example screenshot A. Here it says directly, I don't know what else is worse, art theft or pressure. I saw her comment reply. I don't think attacking won't make her listen, but there's nothing else we can do but that. So you guys can comment, I don't mind, but what she's doing is not allowed. Here she's giving permission for cancel culture to attack Madame, which then led to the dox.
Are you sure about that?
Prove it. No, seriously, prove it. If you're so sure that these are the events that took place and in the order that they took place, prove it. Otherwise, you're throwing out a claim with no evidence.
I'm more inclined to believe this happened after, due to it saying, but what she's doing is not okay.
Now, some of you may be thinking, well, he hasn't provided a time frame when this was uploaded, so there's no way to prove his claim wrong. Wanna see a magic trick? Firstly, let's look at when everything started going down. Slimurz gave Madame the avatar stills to use on September 9th, although she was not online to accept them until September 10th, which is the same day Madame's 50,000 subscriber video went up. Slimurz contacted Madame about credit on the 11th, and this is when Madame got the comment from Nightfish.
Nani's video on Madame came out on September 14th, and in that video she showed a screenshot of Slimurz' Instagram account which contained the Madame period Instagram story that Akumu is bringing up here. In that video, she also talked about Madame's doxing of Slimurz.
Additionally, the user Cyan Dreamer on Twitter was posting a thread about the situation, and on September 12th at 6:43 p.m., they posted a screenshot showcasing Madame attempting to dox Slimurz, meaning the latest the dox could have happened was 6:40 p.m. on September 12th, and the earliest is after 5 p.m. on the 11th.
Here's where my role as the wild card comes into play. The foreign factor, the bootleg Uno reverse card that was definitely not made in the US. Well, kind of, sorta. It's difficult. You see, I live in Japan, and I'm a day ahead of Ponder and all of you, a thing that has come up quite often in the making of this. And Instagram doesn't give you a direct time when stories are posted. It just says the week. It'll say 1 week, 1 week, 1 week, all the way up until it says 2 weeks with no in between. This means we can tell when a new week starts, which, when it first happens, gives us a direct timeline for how old the post is, at least in terms of days.
Nezzy lives in a timeline,
As we all know, Japan is an alternate reality from the US and Canada.
1 day ahead of myself. At the time of scripting this, the Madame Instagram post that Akumu is showcasing here showed up as having been posted 3 weeks ago for me on October 8th.
And it read 4 weeks for me on October 9th, which means it was made between the 11th and the 12th.
Unfortunately, within the nebulous and uncertain time frame for when the attempted dox happened.
Oh, but we can get more exact than that.
Akumu doesn't have access to when this slide was posted on Instagram, just an approximation in the form of 1 week. Only one person would have that access. Slimurz. So I asked Slimurz about it. Incidentally, I was not a dick when I did it.
Slimurz gave us this screenshot, which, because she was the owner of the post, showed the exact date and time it was posted, that being 8:20 a.m. on September 12th. Still within the attempted dox time frame. Akumu was close. But because these events, the order of which is very important, happen on the same day, the exact time of when they each happen needs to be known.
So now it's a matter of figuring out when the dox happened.
The problem with trying to figure that out is that only Madame would have access to the original attempted doxing slides and the time they were posted. And it's not exactly like we can go and ask her for them, so we turn to the next best thing.
Slimurz gave me access to the original call-out post on Madame. Within that archive post was a series of very helpful comments left by the exceptionally helpful, without even knowing it, cutie pie champion Mahina.
The reason it was a series of comments was because Champion Mahina was commenting in response to Madame's Instagram story updates, which means that these comments could be used to pinpoint an even more approximate time for when the docs happened.
Which happens to be exactly what I did. I opened the original story on my phone and changed the date to the 22nd of January because, as of doing this, it is currently the 18th. It read 18 weeks. I changed it to the 23rd of January. It read 19 weeks. Okay, 23rd of January, 3:17 a.m., 18 weeks. 23rd of January, 6:20 a.m., 19 weeks. 23rd of January, 4:25 a.m., 18 weeks. 4:37 a.m., 18 weeks. 4:42 a.m., 18 weeks. 4:47 a.m., 18 weeks. 4:49 a.m., 19 weeks. Bingo! The comments were left between 4:47 and 4:49 a.m. on September 12th.
Which means that the docs happened before 4:48 a.m. on the 12th of September. Even taking into consideration that Ponder is 1 hour ahead of Slimurz in terms of time zones, that means that for Slimurz it happened around 3:48 a.m. And she didn't post the slide Akuma was bringing up until 8:20 a.m., which means that it couldn't have been the reason for Madame to dox Slimurz, because it wasn't even posted until something like 4 hours after the docs even happened. And side note, that means Madame posted it at 3 or 4 in the morning, apparently with nothing better to do at that time than post a child's contact number. That's like really sad.
You didn't provide us any materials to work with, and we still built you a fucking flame-spitting birdhouse with an indoor pool.
With a side of salt from the future. And before we hear anything about, well, that's from her call-out post on Madame, I was talking about her stories. Why would it be expected for Slimurz to further clarify in her stories that Madame did indeed fix the credit, if not only the evidence for the claim as well as the acknowledgement that she fixed the credit was in that call-out post, but the stories were also made in response to that call-out post? The call-out post already specified that Madame fixed the credit after forgetting to give it before removing it entirely on purpose. Slimurz does not need to specify the same thing over and over and over and over again if she has already made this information freely known in the post that makes the claim about what Madame did in the first place. The people who are reading the stories would need to read the call-out post to understand the situation, and that is where the information should be, not the stories where she's answering questions people are asking in response to that post.
So no, Akumu, those screenshots do not explain why Madame attempted to dox Slimurz. They didn't even exist at the time she tried to do it. Additionally, let's take a closer look at that screenshot.
Does it help?
I was wrong. That wasn't the reason, which just means Madame didn't have an actual logical reasoning for getting back. She simply did it out of spite. Now, are you going to ignore the blatant fact Slimurz is telling people to continue it? She says she doesn't condone it, then proceeds to condone it. That's a literal contradiction.
To comment and pressure her to credit you? Or would that make it worse?
I don't know what else is worse, art theft or pressuring. I saw her comment reply. I don't think attacking won't make her listen, but there's nothing else we can do but do that. So you guys can comment, I don't mind, but what she's doing is not allowed.
Let's first start off with the fact that we think Slimurz meant I don't think attacking will make her listen, not won't, because that wording doesn't make any sense.
Keep in mind at this point, the attempted dox and harassment had already occurred. Slimurz is also 15, and I know you hate the age thing, but she probably didn't know what to do.
Yes, because despite what some people in Madame's server seem to think, age is an excuse. A 15-year-old doesn't have as much developmental maturity or life experience as a 19-year-old, particularly because a 15-year-old is only a third of the way through puberty and a 19-year-old is reaching the end.
She isn't old enough or experienced enough to handle a situation like this, let alone something of this size and scale. Even if you want to argue that Slimurz had a big audience and therefore should be used to this attention, she isn't used to this much negative attention.
Negative attention that was an attempted directed harassment campaign.
If I were her age, I honestly wouldn't know how to handle a person with 3 times my following on a more popular platform attacking me either. It's possible that she just wants the situation to end and is trying.
Your argument is poor, and I really hope you quit with this because it's not going to get you anywhere. You tried this in the Sashley drama. Age doesn't have anything to do with this. Anyone with the average IQ and has been through any form of public school and has had any negative attention, let alone she chooses to post her art publicly and get a following. Anyone who gets on the internet knows they're prone to plenty of negative attention. 4 years is not that big of an age difference. let alone my example earlier about the artist being the same age as her, is already handling the situation better than she did. We can use me as an example. 1 year older, plenty of negative attention from this video from 2 people with much larger platforms than I. James is also around the same age, and he's handled negative attention pretty well recently. He's not the best example considering his past breakdowns, but nowadays the dude can handle himself. Your argument is poor and is only an excuse. It's not about age or puberty, and experience can have a role in this, but when you're on the internet making artwork, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know this.
Trying to detach herself from this while recognizing that Madame is still majorly in the wrong. Heck, you could argue that she knows that her audience won't listen to her regardless and is simply choosing to detach herself from that.
I would like to argue, on the other hand, that unlike what Akumu is claiming, Slimurz is not actually trying to direct harassment towards Madame. Slimurz makes note within the post that she feels that the only way to get Madame to stop using the art is to pressure her into stopping via comments, indicating that she's doing something wrong. But she also ends off by stating that what Madame is doing is not allowed. You read this as exclusively talking about the fact that Madame using Slimurz's art without paying for it is wrong, but it could be read as all of what Madame is doing is not allowed, which would include attempted doxing and directed harassment, meaning that Slimurz is not condoning or encouraging that behavior.
Granted, it's a possibility. Just like her potentially posting something that could be perceived as what you're claiming, it could also just be badly worded.
It's where you're wrong. Her statement is a contradiction in itself. So far from your response, you seem to believe I was under the impression she was encouraging Madame's behavior. I wasn't. She was encouraging them to continue. They sure did pressure her all right. Slimurz was targeted and harassed, but so was Madame, to the point people joined her server and started shit, to the point they literally tried to report back to her. Both sides targeted one another, and whether you choose to accept that or not, that is the objective truth. She did condone this in the message. She wasn't specific, but it was quite clear. But knowing you, both from the first response, you'll pass it off and not use it as a testament to her personality and intentions, which is bias and a double standard.
Again, it's a possibility, as well as what you're claiming.
So that's 3 different possibilities to consider and no proof for each, because this is based on interpretation of a 15-year-old's wording. In case you hadn't figured out from us deconstructing your asinine pedantic complaint against people using the term art theft, because the term you try to replace it with is basically just a synonym, yeah, teenagers don't often word things the best. Oh, but we do at least have solid proof that your accompanying accusation that this point was the inciting reason for the attempted dox was bullshit.
Gee, it seems like both you and Slimurz don't know what the fuck you're doing half the time. Like most teenagers.
You continue to bring up my age as if it has any relevancy to this, but it doesn't. I could easily just pull out a random stereotypical thing about Gen Z or millennial adults, but I don't. Why? Because it's irrelevant. Next time in your however late video it'll be, if you do make a response, let's quit with the age thing. Really, it's just pathetic and it's irrelevant. Now, that's not entirely true. I know exactly what I'm doing. Everyone makes mistakes. This includes adults. The irony is I'm pointing plenty out on you. However, if you really want to talk about age as if it has ever mattered, we can. I don't judge someone by their age until they try it. It's just a pitiful attempt. I hope your next response, coming late summer, won't try this. It didn't end well for ZZ, and I was trolling at the time.
Am I saying Madame shouldn't go unpunished over doxing? No, absolutely not. What I am saying, what the purpose of this video is saying, what it is to point out Slimurz is not as innocent as you all like to put it.
This whole segment is pointless now because this segment is based on the belief that the screenshot you provided happened before the dox, but it didn't.
Yep.
So now this situation is even more pointless than it was before!
On top of that, he acknowledges that Madame deserves to face consequences for what she did, yet he is specifically going after the person that pointed out one of her problems that led to everybody recognizing she was kind of a garbage person, and who was then a victim of Madame's dox attempt as a result, which was not prompted by the screenshot you claim prompted it. So Madame is supposed to face consequences, but you are, as you say, somewhere in this fucking video, I can't remember at this point, attempting to even the scale by harassing Slimurz.
Correct, I'm not saying what Madame did wasn't much worse. My point is to even it out because everyone is failing to recognize how bad of a person Slimurz really is. Why? She's victimized in every situation and her actions aren't used as a testament to her personality, unlike Madame. I hope that provides plenty of insight. She's lied several times, as I've gone through. She literally condoned the hate to continue. Now, whether you try to use age as a justification or try and use the excuse of it's not understood, it's quite clear exactly what she did. And if you're going to use her action, Madame's actions, as a testament, as a viewpoint of her personality, to get what her personality is viewed as, then you have to do the same with Slimurz. That's how it works. Age is not going to work as an excuse, no matter how many times you try and push it. And I know you love to do that, Ponder, because I've seen your Sashley video. Any video you do that's basically with minors, and you even try to use this with me, as if my age is some kind of excuse for any of this. It's very poor. It's not going to work. At all. So please, with your next response, don't go down that route. It's pitiful, it's pathetic, and I don't want to have to call you out for it again.
But that doesn't make any sense. Why are you evening the scale if the offenses were not the same? Why do you somehow think that pointing out that a person has done something illegal and potentially making a mistake while doing so deserves the same backlash as committing those illegal offenses? Wouldn't the fact that Madame publicly revealed an extremely personal thing about Slimurz, which she didn't want made public, count as sufficient consequences for daring to put up a vent post and commenting in the wrong place?
When two cars collide, they cause damage to one another. Damage happens to both. When two people do something wrong, they both face consequences.
And when one car scams the other out of a commission and then rams into them and claims that the other car was at fault, where was I going with this again?
Insurance fraud, or do you want damage theft?
Plus, another thing to consider, when two cars collide, one is usually more at fault than the other. We specifically have ways of determining which car is more at fault in a collision based on how the collision happened. So even the scenario that you are presenting as a reason why both sides should receive equal consequences despite their involvement is not a situation where both sides would receive equal consequences despite their involvement. I can't even say that it's understandable you wouldn't know this because I imagine you don't drive, because I also don't drive!
Two wrongs don't make a right, ZZ. You're 22 and apparently don't know this.
But it wasn't two wrongs don't make a right. It was 6, 10
5
wrongs versus 1.
Yet you tell me to pay attention to school.
Akumu, pay attention in school.
Ponder, Nezzy Monster, quit being dumbasses. Maybe for once, quit trying to use age as an excuse. I could go on about this. Again, my age, let alone school, has nothing to do with this. So, either are we going to stay on that, or are we going to finally come to the consensus that it is entirely irrelevant? Otherwise, we can just keep nitpicking at one another. Ultimately, it gets us nowhere, it's irrelevant, and it's retarded.
No wonder he doesn't know about stuff like AP. He can't even keep his points straight. My AP Lang and AP Lit teachers would be laughing their asses off at his crumpled tissue of a script.
Odd flex, but okay.
Just let me have this.
So here's the timeline. Slimurz makes fan art, although she changed her story. Let's go with the one she told Nani, which furthers our point. Madame contacts her wanting to do business and asks prices. Slimurz replies that she doesn't have PayPal, but didn't tell her why.
Because it was in her bio, according to you.
You even stated that Madame knew her age the whole time. So again, which is it?
They work out the arrangement consisting of credit in the description and at some point a vocal shout out. This was not a legal agreement.
Yeah, we'll come back to that claim. If you're taking a hint as to how all of Akumu's other points have worked out, then you know how this one is gonna work out.
Madame posts her first video. Slimurz then comments in the YouTube section asking for credit instead of contacting her through her phone number, private Discord, or even Instagram. After some time, Slimurz vents about it, and then Madame sees the comment, which leads us here.
What? He's got the timeline wrong again. The Instagram post where Slimurz vented about not receiving credit was posted before Slimurz and Madame sorted everything out, not after. It wouldn't even make sense for Slimurz to have posted it after Madame credited her, because the original story said, "Been working for Madame lately, I haven't gotten credit in the description though, but it's okay, this is exciting." Or do you want to, I don't know, prove that our understanding of the timeline is wrong with evidence? Nope. Yeah, that's about what I figured.
Where Madame initially fixed the credit and even shows Slimurz.
I'm sorry, what? Akumu, you told us earlier that everyone's understanding of the fact that Madame originally didn't give credit was wrong. Now you're stating that she fixed the credit. She wouldn't have to fix the credit if she hadn't failed to give credit in the first place.
Don't you see, Ponder? You're simply ignorant. Only a great intellectual like Akumu could notice the fucking obvious.
Oh god, I feel ignorant. It's too stupid. Nezzy, slap me and make sure I'm in the proper timeline.
Are you monetized? Because YouTube may not be able to handle that kind of kinkiness.
However, she had it blurred in her video to be an asshat. Slimurz did provide this right here, and she even said this in Nani's video, but if you go through her stories talking about the issue, as I have, I had used it, but if you go through her stories telling these people what happened, she does not bring up the fact that Madam initially fixed it. Why didn't you bring that up? Maybe that would have not led to the mob, and maybe some kind of arrangement could have talked out, but instead, no, you don't mention it.
Minus the fact that in Nani's video, Slimurz read out the DMs between herself and Madame that showcases that Madame didn't give credit and then she fixed it.
You literally showed the part of Nani's video where she read it out, and even then you watched the video. So you watched it, edited it, then re-watched for final touches, and didn't notice that?
She's like, that of course credit, which was the plan, but okay, I got you. And I said, I mean credit in the description of your videos. Then she said, yeah, that's the plan. I said, I got you. Boom, done. Just DM me because I stopped reading the comments after 48 hours. So I was like, thank you, that's all I wanted, not hating.
Or is this exclusively about the Instagram stories made within the first 2 days when the drama was first exploding? Do you really want to make that claim, Akumu? Really? For one thing, despite claiming that you went over all of Slimurz's Instagram stories from that time and that she never specified this information, why would you not show us the Instagram stories in question? You've supposedly gone over them and seen them, we haven't. You're making a claim without bringing up the post that you're directly making a claim about, and no, the one slide you brought up doesn't count as sufficient evidence because not only were there something like 4 related stories, the original call-out post, the vent post on her private account which turned into a post answering questions on the matter, and yes, this is where Akumu's screenshot is from, a post providing more evidence, and another question post. The story your single screenshot is from contains at least 18 other slides, none of which you use to showcase or prove your claim. You do not get to show one slide that doesn't contain a certain piece of information and use it to make.
This is most likely another lack of context situation, because even James covers this a little bit in his response to my video. I didn't say she didn't cover it in Nani's video. She didn't bring it up until Nani's video, and James said he found it strange she didn't bring it up for a while. Refer to his video and my response to it.
Yeah, saving that one for later.
I kind of feel like you did that on purpose, considering any time someone is labeled an art thief in the art community, mobs appear.
What is he trying to say?
I get it. He's making the same claim that Madame did, essentially. That being that Slimurz was initially trying to get people to mob against Madame, and that's why she didn't tell everyone right away that Madame had fixed the credit. Except just like Madame's claim, this one doesn't make any sense.
Let me just cancel this girl by waiting for her to, by chance, not do this thing that she says is common sense to do, and then tell her that she didn't do it so that she can fix it before I tell everyone she didn't do it. My plan is flawless.
I think your plan is wrong.
Not scientifically possible.
Akumu, if Slimurz's original goal was to incite people against Madame because
No, I was mentioning the blatant fact that the art community has always had an issue with harassing people. So this segment is useless and goes nowhere.
And then the fact that there was a lack of support for Madame was because she was shit at defending herself.
And because she was caught in a bunch of lies.
That too.
Like, originally there wasn't anything pointing to Madame to indicate that she'd done something wrong. Slimurz's screenshots are the pieces of evidence that showcase that to not be the case. If you think that Slimurz is also at fault, then you need to provide evidence of that, and you haven't been doing that. All you've been doing is misinterpreting the evidence we already have and acting like that proves your conspiracy theory.
And acting like the things everyone already knew was some kind of grand revelation, funnily enough leading to some of our own.
I'm basically stating they have double standards.
But it's not double standards. Double standard, a rule or principle that is unfairly applied in different ways to different people or groups. It's being unfairly applied because the rules that were broken were not equal on scale or quantity.
The crimes are different, therefore the reaction from the public is different.
Now, I'm aware people are going to reply with, you shouldn't have a platform, or anything along the lines of platform. I know that there's going to be some kind of someone that types clown emojis. But this is the truth, folks. Just like the video all you want, but sometimes the truth hurts.
The only one that hasn't been able to handle the truth here is you, hon. Because whenever someone proves your point wrong, you either suddenly ghost or bite back like an animal backed into a corner.
Now, why would I make this video? Because Slimurz made mistakes, yet just because she's been revealed to be 15 and her dad decided to be inappropriate, people are literally treating her like she's done nothing wrong. Immediately forgiving her.
No.
People also already knew her fucking age.
Also, can we all just acknowledge this instance of a teenager wording something particularly bad by saying that potential sexual assault was someone acting inappropriate. Ugh.
Even if no one knew about this, which everyone had stated should have been kept fucking private.
Which means that we also have spreading a minor's traumatic experience to people online under the guise that she is a liar because you want to be spiteful to be mad at Madame for as well.
Madame only revealed the sexual assault case as a desperate attempt to make her seem like a liar. Nobody wanted to talk about it because it had nothing to do with anything.
It's easy to immediately forgive someone when not only do they apologize, their mistake was also small and kind of inconsequential.
Especially in comparison to all the other shit the other party did.
Remember when we said that artists pick and choose their battles? Akumu, are you an artist? Pick and choose your battles, man.
Madam deserves what she got. She crossed the line with attempting to dox her in general. Now, should it be this severe? Obviously not.
I mean, provided you just ignore literally everything else that people are mad at her for doing.
Oh, that giant dumpster fire over there? Yeah, that's not an issue. But this little cigarette someone forgot to stamp out, that's a hazard.
What is it now? Not giving credit to an artist when credit was the deal for the commission you got from them?
Using fan art without credit and then lying and claiming that fan art was the commission when you hadn't even paid for that yet.
Attempting to dox a minor.
Directing harassment towards a minor for asking for payment on work they did for you that was agreed upon.
A now demonstrated pattern of behavior of threatening minors into silence.
Laughing at a child for losing his friend over a joke he had apologized for making 3 months prior.
And allegedly scamming people out of their money with the claim that you need it for a legal case and then spending it on something else.
You know, I don't have the best sight. I wear glasses. Maybe I'm just seeing double. But that seems like a lot more than just she tried and failed to dox this minor.
But if it's going to be this severe, why is it not at all any severe on the other side? However, if you're really going to take a moral stand, then how is it okay to victimize one side, then clearly, when clearly the other side made mistakes? How is that okay?
Because the crime dictates the punishment.
Does he not know how anything works? In court, people aren't tried for littering and murder in the same manner. That's incredibly illogical and downright unreasonable.
Logic! Logic!
Oh dear, we may have broken Ponder.
Just because she's underage? Are you joking? How can you allow someone to condone cancel culture because what, she was sexually assaulted? Get out of here. A sexual assault is not a pass to continuously make mistakes.
Literally nobody said that. Everybody actively tried to avoid talking about it because it had nothing to do with anything.
Why are you so convinced that everyone is going easy on Slimurz because of her sexual assault and not because the issues being presented behind either party are completely different? Why must you assume people are addressing the situations different specifically because of the sexual assault, when the video that most people have talked about, Madame's response, has Madame acknowledging that she was also sexually assaulted?
Yeah, did you forget that Madame also claimed to be a victim of sexual assault, and yet nobody's been going easy on her?
Now, if someone were looking at the situation differently, acknowledging Slimurz's sexual assault and purposely ignoring Madame's, you might have a point with that particular person. But not only have you not showcased that, we've already explained that there are plenty of other reasons why people are treating what Madame did as being different from what Slimurz did. Because it was. Also, because Madame revealed her own sexual assault publicly online of her own choice. She doesn't get to make that choice for Slimurz.
It's not. It's not a pass to make any mistakes. But these people are just literally delusional. For example, this guy says he's seen my art, yet I have never posted any of my artwork online publicly. Not publicly. I've sent it to family members. I've done commissions for people in real life. This is one of the reasons I don't post online.
What does this have to do with anything? First you're talking about the sexual assault, now you're talking about someone who claimed to know what your art looks like. Way to switch topics mid-sentence. You do not have the maturity to talk about this. You barely seem to have the focus for it.
Something else.
That's not accurate either. Here's the thing. I will talk about what I want to, whenever I want to. Whether you like it or not, ultimately doesn't matter. This has nothing to do with maturity. I did switch from topics, but ultimately I brought that situation up as an example of the kind of people that support her. And you two are also fantastic examples. You're not exactly... That was sarcasm, basically. I mean, clearly you've quite lied a lot in this video. Point is, I'll talk about what I want whenever I want to.
Else I found rather comedic is when artists scream art theft or art thieves, even though in this case it's not art theft.
Even by your own definition it is.
Now, why do I find it funny? 2 reasons. It's funny because people who usually scream art thieves or art theft literally have public Instagrams, DeviantArts, or sites that have their art on it. Seriously, you can't yell art thief, but be posting your art on a superhighway of data called the internet.
Ah yeah, here it is. Here it is.
That would be like unlocking your doors in your house and then complaining when someone breaks in and takes something.
Yeah, it would be dumb to refer to it as though it was breaking and entering, because the term would actually be home invasion, which is still a crime even if you leave your door open or unlocked.
Or trespassing on private property.
See what I just did there? We acknowledged that the understood term was incorrect, and then we made a correction as to what the proper term would be. Akumu, take notes.
You can't say that someone can do something purely because they were able to. The opportunity for crime doesn't justify the act of committing it. That's dumb. It doesn't matter if I left my door unlocked, the property is still mine and the items in the house are still mine. By your logic, everybody should be allowed to take whatever they want if a person doesn't take action to actively protect an item of value.
No, by my logic, you were also at fault for not locking your door. This makes you what we call a dumbass, and also at fault.
And you know what this is all over? Second, Slimurz most likely doesn't have a copyright. Her parents would have to pay for that.
No.
Ooh, this is where I'm gonna have fun. Here's the thing. We actually did research on this, and guess what?
I mean, if you guess that we didn't have to do much research because we didn't blatantly mix up copyright with something else, then you'd be right.
But if you guessed he's right, then go to the corner. Copyright, as stated by copyright.gov from the U.S. Copyright Office, since both of them are in the States, specifically states copyright, a form of intellectual property law, protects original works of authorship including literary, dramatic, musical, and artistic works, such as poetry, novels, movies, songs, computer software, and architecture. Copyright does not protect facts, ideas, systems, or methods of operation, although it may protect the way these things are expressed. And then, your work is under copyright protection the moment it is created and fixed in a tangible form that is perceptible either directly or with the aid of a machine or device. Boom. Digital art.
Basically, Akumu, you're mixing up artistic copyright with trademarks and patents. Trademarks and patents are the things that you have to pay for. Copyright protects original works of authorship, while a patent protects inventions or discoveries. Copyright is actually legally provided to an art piece at the moment of its creation. Mind you, people do register their copyrights, oh yes, but the reason they do that is to legally protect themselves by acquiring a certificate of copyright that you can then use in court to prove that you own the work. It's not because it's required, it's because registering your copyright gives you extra protection. There's actually something else that you can do to prove that in court, and we'll go over it in a moment.
Considering she doesn't have a legal business either, she most likely does not, and she hasn't mentioned it.
And she doesn't need to. Why? Because she doesn't need one.
I think you all can tell I had a lot of fun with this. But I searched around if it was necessary for an individual to have a business license in order to sell their work, and guess what? Whether freelancers need a business license depends in part on the services they provide. Graphic designers, for example, commonly aren't required to get a license if they operate under their names and report business earnings as personal income. Boom. Slimurz is technically a freelance artist, an individual who works for their own individual income with their work. She wouldn't need a license to sell her work.
On top of that, most places in the world have minimum requirements that have to be met for a person or their small business to need a business license. This changes from place to place, but where I live, that threshold is a minimum of $30,000 of annual earnings. I don't know exactly what the stipulation would be for where Slimurz lives, but I imagine she doesn't meet the requirements because she wasn't even accepting payment for her work. She was trading.
So if we go back to good old plagiarism checker, plagiarism is using someone else's work without giving proper credit, a failure to cite adequately. We've already proven this. Copyright, using someone else's creative work, which can include a song, a video, a movie clip, a piece of visual art, photographs, and other creative works without authorization or compensation if compensation is appropriate. So way to prove that she did both. Literally everything we found in 5 minutes. Something to note, kids, that shows Akumu really wasn't paying attention in school is citations. You always gotta have citations. I'll even put them in an APA format in the description just for you.
If she had first posted her work to YouTube, DeviantArt, or even Amino that provides you an intellectual property rights to that image posted on there, this could be different.
It's been a moment.
Your work is under copyright protection the moment it is created and fixed in a tangible form that is perceptible either directly or with the aid of a machine or device. We've already said this, but just in case you didn't hear it in the back.
On top of registering your copyright with regards to digital and sometimes physical artwork, provided a picture of the piece is taken, another way you can prove your artwork is your own is by showing an authentication expiration date in the form of an upload. This can be an image of the piece that you upload to YouTube, DeviantArt, or Amino, as Akumu stated. Those would work, but so would any post of the image on Instagram, Pixiv, Twitter, Tumblr, or really any site that tracks the date of uploads. You can also send the image to yourself in an email. Actually, I hear that's quite a common technique. You know what else would work? That screenshot where Slimurz sent Madame the avatar stills, because it stipulates a date and time the image was uploaded online. So not only can that screenshot be shown to demonstrate that Madame was given the art she's been using without paying for it, it can also be shown to demonstrate that Slimurz owns the copyright to that art. That seems kind of funny, I don't know about you.
Also again, by that logic, I apparently don't own the pictures that I post of myself.
An additional complication in Akumu's wording that I would like to point out here, barely a minute ago Akumu stated that you can't complain about art theft in a setting like the internet where artwork is posted in easy-to-see spaces and websites. Now he's stating that if Slimurz had posted her work somewhere like DeviantArt, Amino, or Pixiv, she would have been fine, except then the artwork would be posted in a publicly available forum, and according to Akumu, she wouldn't be able to complain if Madame stole it, even though posting it there, again, according to him, is supposed to offer her some level of artistic protection. This is almost along the same lines as claiming that a crime cannot be considered theft if the thing stolen is not a physical good, therein no longer in the victim's possession, not only ignoring the second definition of the word that would allow for the inclusion of digital art, especially given that Akumu claimed that credit could be stolen, but also I guess apparently forgetting that identity theft is a thing? Actually, a quick note, Akumu tried explaining his side to me, only after a little prodding, as when I didn't immediately agree with him and asked him to clarify, he wasn't originally willing to. And within those comments, he said the same thing. He said that Slimurz didn't own her work because she hadn't filed for a copyright, but when I pointed out that by that logic, I don't own any of my work, he said that no, I own my work, except I also haven't paid for a copyright. So why do I own my work without having to pay for this copyright, but Slimurz doesn't own her work because of the same thing?
Yeah, and you know what this is all over, really? Some credit, that's it. Even though everyone knows by now that Slimurz made those stills, made the art.
So because Slimurz has now grown far beyond the point that any exposure from Madame could have helped her to get, now we should all just stop caring that Madame is a conniving little thief, is that it?
Wait, she got exposure? Alright everybody, back up, everything's fine, because exposure totally makes up for all of Madame's shitty and illegal actions, right? She paid for the bail with exposure, apparently.
Plus, you've contradicted yourself again. According to you, the shoutout was a part of the deal. Madame hasn't done the shoutout, at least not based on how a shoutout is defined, so it doesn't matter how much exposure Slimurz gets from the situation. By not going through with her end of the deal, Madame still hasn't paid for the work. Fuck, guy, you really think that we should set a precedent for that? We just stop caring that someone scammed an artist because the artist, by pure chance, managed to get a significant sub boost out of it? Wouldn't that just encourage more people to go out and scam artists, because once the artist gets enough subs, everyone will stop caring, and look, they got free art out of it?
This situation should be over, but I also want Slimurz to get attacked. Over what? The thing she already apologized for? People vilify Madame because she hasn't learned and has fucked off with people's money somewhere, in comparison to Slimurz, who has apologized numerous times. Why are you trying to vilify someone for something that they have learned from? What would be the point of learning and progressing when her doing that still isn't good enough for you?
Wait a fucking minute. He's trying to vilify someone based on a past mistake that they have acknowledged and learned from. Holy shit, Akumu is supporting cancel culture.
Whoa, sick of my god! Also, can we take a moment to just marvel at how he is actively trying to get people to hate on an individual, something that is a super big no-no in the commentary community, and something that everybody said not to do to Madame? Way to target harassment to someone while also saying earlier how you don't understand why someone would do that. Double standards much there, buddy?
Madam still
You're once again taking my words out of context. I never said I don't understand why. The simple point was, if you're going to do the same thing to Madam, the same thing is going to happen to the other person who's also in the wrong here. That's how it works. That's the actual double standard, not what I said.
Which would probably explain why she's still losing subscribers, because her fans don't appreciate how she's acting.
Madame attacked anyone who outwardly said that she was in the wrong, even those in her own Discord server. Slimurz recognized what she did wrong and accepted it so that she could move on with the situation. They both started in the same place, but while Slimurz decided to move towards improving herself, Madame fucked off to Washington with money she scammed from her viewers.
So until she confesses her mistakes and gets the backlash she deserves, or if both sides calm down, okay? If everyone quit attacking Madam then this could all end.
You heard it here, folks. Unless the artist confesses to these things that I'm blatantly wrong about, this is not going to stop. Nobody likes a guy who threatens to harass an artist openly in a video, my dude.
She has admitted her mistakes. You are just actively ignoring that. Madame has continued to make more, newer mistakes that you didn't mention. If this was a scale and you plopped everything down, poor Slimurz would be halfway to the moon while Madame would be halfway to the center of the earth.
Hey, I apologize for the mistakes I made. They were pretty dumb and I know I was in the wrong.
I didn't realize you were that dumb artist everyone was talking about.
Could you not?
This doesn't stop until you apologize.
Yeah, I'm blocking you now.
But no, people are...
Considering the drama has been dead for almost 3 months now, yeah. Apologies do not mean her actions are suddenly forgotten. It doesn't mean you can correlate Madame's actions to her personality, then my actions to mine, but refuse to do the same for Slimurz. That's called a double standard and favoritism. And clear bias. Second, I have said this before and I will say it one last time. I don't care for any of her other actions Madame has done outside the situation between her and Slimurz, so I don't care to comment on them. They are irrelevant to the drama between the two of them, which has been dead for almost 3 months. If it's not obvious, I'm mentally exhausted from having to just... This is one of the longest videos on my channel. I had to pick and choose what was even worth responding to, and a lot of it was pretty ridiculous, and this makes me not really want to be in the commentary scene, but I'm not going to let one little situation change that ultimately, because that's how people like this, that's how people like these specific YouTubers sort of win. So, and how their followers really win. So, no, I'm not going to be doing that. Not going to be quitting. It's just exhausting, and dealing with people like this, no. And I don't understand why they would even upload it at this point. Calling it retarded or stupid would be a complete understatement. But yeah, that's just the way it is. She definitely got me when it came to the copyright and as well the timeline. Some pretty almost 15 minutes of some digging, but you got me there, no doubt. But in terms of an actual response, I don't like the fact that you lied about me lying. I don't like the fact that you lied saying that I had anything to hide. I don't like the fact that you insinuated that, and not only that, but now I have to deal with your followers, which now believe that I lied about this, and that I had some form of something to hide. And that's where I just figured out where those accusations come from after doing this response and analyzing your video. So, no, I'm not going to continue to debate with you. I just don't debate or respond to people that are like that. So, yeah, this was pretty fun. I mean, I learned a little bit. I learned, basically, always have context when you respond. Rushing a video isn't a good idea. I definitely learned that. Clearly, it just doesn't end well for you. And as well, just explain everything. Always have some form of context. Just explain everything and what you mean. Otherwise, you're going to have people that will take advantage of that, as you can tell. So, after this, no, I'm not going to be responding. I don't see a reason to continue this. The drama should be dead anyways. That's all I really have to say. Oh, and one last thing. So, about the first initial video, I'm going to be removing that because it had horrible editing. My voice was definitely odd in it because of the mic. The script was all over the place, and there was lacking in context just about on everything. So, I am going to be removing it, yes, but I'm going to be leaving this one up, and so this will basically be the go-to spot for that video initially, if that makes any sense. So that, like, basically if there's any questions, or because this has not only actual context of me explaining what I meant, but it actually has people questioning that, so I decided why not this be basically the hot spot for those looking into the drama on my channel. So yeah, that's all I really have to say on that.